that much knowledge you don't know, Mataji.
Even I don't know. That's why I'm asking her.
It's sad that they put something in here.
Cool. So we are live, Mataji, if
Much
you want to
knowledge
share.
you don't know. I will share the link, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We can wait for everyone to join, Mataji.
Sure. Whenever you say, I'll start. Okay. I'll go.
Okay.
Can you give me screen share permissions, please?
No.
No.
I will not give you.
Okay, then why don't you do the share?
That also we won't do.
Okay, Vaishnavis, do what you please. It's all you're the bosses here.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much for joining us today. So we are continuing our study of the Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami. And we are very fortunate that we have almost towards the end of the first series, which is Nectar of Instruction. So we are on the 11th verse. So we had advertised the series as 11 verses in 11 weeks. And today is the 11th verse. So congratulations, you've completed 11 weeks. And after this, of course, we are going to proceed and we'll move on to Ishopanishad and Nectar of Devotion after this. But this is going to be a very crucial verse, being the last verse of Nectar of Instruction. So thank you all so much for joining us. And I'll let you all listen to her Grace Sukha Sagari Mataji, and she will take you into this beautiful ocean of Upadeshamrita with the 11th verse. Thank you so much, Sukha Sagari Mataji. You can take over the call. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Preeti, and all the organizers for giving me this opportunity to purify myself. And like Preeti mentioned, this is an important and a very, very, very advanced level of realization which is being spoken of in this verse. And I am absolutely zero qualified to speak on this, but I'm just doing it as a service to purify myself and under the orders of the organizers. So please forgive me in advance if I make any mistakes or, if I speak something wrong. So please forgive me. And I beg for the mercy of all the Vaishnavas so I can speak something which is very relevant to this topic. Okay, we'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Our respectful obeisances are unto you, O spiritual master, servant of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. You are kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Deva and delivering the Western countries which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas Thakur, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, we'll move on to the verse. And anybody who is the personality we find in this picture here, we are at the 11th verse, so I'm hoping everybody knows this much.
Rupa Goswami Mataji.
Jai, Rupa Goswami, who has given us this nectar of instruction. So we are very grateful to him and we take his blessings before we proceed. And before this is the last verse which we are going to be discussing today, last verse of the Nectar of Instruction, and we'll just briefly touch upon the summary of what has gone through in this 11 verses. So these 11 verses, in fact, in one way speak of the different stages of devotion from Shraddha. Shraddha is like basic faith, from Shraddha to Prema. So the first three texts, they discuss Shraddha. Does anybody remember vaguely, at least, if not, like what the first text is about? the Vegam, right? Vacho Vegam, Manasa, Krodha Vegam. So we, the urges, it discussed the urges. The second verse,
Vices.
yeah, vices, Atyahara, Prayashascha, Prajalpuniam, all those things. And then the third one went on a positive note, and what did that discuss?
Virtues.
Yeah, Utsaha, what were the virtues? Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya, Tat Karma Pravartana. Yeah. Sangatyaga Satuvitesh. And then, so these were the first three which are on the level of Shraddha. And then the fourth verse, what did it discuss? 6.
Loving exchanges.
Loving exchanges with devotees. Very nice. What are they? Dadati pratigranati kuhyamakhyati prichati. So all that was discussed. And then next is the fifth one. What was that verse about? The 3 types of devotees, the 3 levels we learned, right? Like the Kanishtha, Madhyama, and the Uttamadhikari. So the fourth verse, it said that we need to have this loving exchanges with devotees. But how do we recognize with whom we have this loving exchanges? So that was discussed in the 5th verse, right? 5th verse, right? I'm trying to sing it in the mind door, please. Yeah. So, and then the 6th verse, what was it about? Anybody? Okay. So the 6th verse is, unless I sing, I don't remember. I'm sorry about that. So let me see. Yeah, Drishta is Svabhava Janitya. So it is like we don't look at devotees based on their physical, Drishta is Svabhava Janitya, Vapushascha doshe. We do not look at their any kind of, physical inabilities or any kind of, physical, drawbacks or anything they may have. And just like, and the comparison was given to what? Gangam Bhasam, Nakhalu Budbhuda Phena Panke, Brahmadravatvam Apagachati Niradharmahi. So the comparison was given to Mother Ganges, even though we find these bubbles, like this foam on top of her, she's still pure. Okay. And then, so that was regarding Sadhu Sangha, how we deal with devotees. So first is we saw that, we saw that we should not distinguish devotees based on any of the physical appearance or anything like that. And then we should also, the 3 kinds of devotees, how we deal with them, and what are the loving exchanges with these devotees. So these 3 things were discussed in the verses 4 to 6. And then 7, what does it talk about? Syat Krishna Nama, is that the one?
Nameruchi.
Yeah, Syat Krishna Nama Charita Adi. So this verse is actually giving us the way to, follow Krishna consciousness. That is Nama Charita Adi. So Nama Rupa Charita, all that we need to meditate upon. The Bhajana Kriya, that's what as it is mentioned. And the Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, and Ruchi, all these are covered in the 7th verse. And this verse talks about how, a jaundiced tongue, like it cannot taste sugar or sweet, but then by continuous intake of sugar or sweet, we get over this jaundice, right? So similarly, the holy name is like the candy, sugar candy. And the more you keep consuming or, uttering or chanting the holy name, what happens? We get over the Sitapya Vidya, which this, this fever of materialism, will get over that fever. So then the next verse is in one sense, the key or the summary of the whole Upadesh Amrita. And what is this verse? Again, it emphasizes the importance of Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasanamanasinu Yoja Trishthan Vraje Tadanuragi Jananugami. So it says that a person, Tannama Rupa Charita Adi, again, like the 7th verse, we have to reminisce on the qualities, the form, the name of the Lord, and then recite where Tishtan Vraje, in the holy place, holy dham of Vraja. So that is asakti, that is attachment, when we get attachment, total attachment to Krishna. So we are going level higher, higher, higher in the process of devotional service. And then 9 through 11. Yeah, so Upadesha Saram was given in the text 8. And then from 9 to 11, what is being discussed? First, in 9th verse, we are seeing the different realms of the spiritual world are compared, right? Vaikuntha Janito Vara Madhupuri Tatrapi Rasotsava. So, like, above Vaikuntha planets is Vrindaranya Mudara Pani Ramana Tatrapi Govardhana. And above the Vrindavan is the position of the Govardhana. Then Radha Kunda Mihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavanat Kuryadasya Virajato Giritate Sevame. So who would not like to, live by the banks of Radha Kunda, which is at the foothills of the Govardhan hill. Sevam Viveki Nakaha. So where will you find an intelligent person who would not want to do it? Only a foolish person would, stay away from doing this practice. That's what is being discussed. And then next is what is being discussed, the different kinds of devotees. Karmibhya parito hare priyataya yasmin yayurnyanya. So vyaktim yayurnyanya. So, the different levels like karmi yogis, then jnana yogis, and then, bhakti yogis. And then more than bhakti yoga is the gopas and gopis. Tebhyasta pashupala pankajadrishaha. Tabhyopi sa radhika. But even greater than them is radhika. Then preshta tadvadiyam tadiya sarasi. Sarasi is the kunda. So even greater than that is Tadiya Sarasi, which is Radha Kunda, Tamna Shet Kakriti. So if we see this verse, 10th verse, if we go back and see the summary of the 10th verse, Srila Prabhupada actually gives a clue as to who is eligible. The translation, I'm sorry. So in the translation, I would just like to read this translation to the 10th verse of the Nectar of Instruction. In the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in the knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as is most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radha Kunda? And this is the important part which we need to know. And in a spiritual body, surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings. And in parenthesis, it is said aprakrita bhava. So at this stage, we have to realize we are, the devotee is in a spiritual body. So this is not a part of the verse, but Prabhupada is making this point very clear only for us to understand that this is the level of devotion or bhakti which is being spoken in this verses, the last couple of verses. So that is the kind of the high level where a person is in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings. So this is bhava and above. So, and aprakrita bhava. So there is no tinge of material or any kind of material, activity in this. And this aprakrita bhava, render loving service to the divine couple. So this is why these two verses are kind of difficult to speak upon because they are talking about very, very advanced stages of Bhakti Yoga, the bhava and prema stage, and it is not very easy to attain these stages. And not only is it easy, but it's not easy to even talk about them because these are very highly advanced stages of Bhakti Yoga. So this is a clue which Srila Prabhupada gives away in this 10th verse. And now we will move on to the actual verse for today. And let's see. I'm not kind of familiar with the meter, but I just can sing it out like that. Krishnasyochai pranayavasatihi preyasibhyopi radha kundam chasya munibhirabhitah tadrgeva vyadhahi yat preshtairapyalam asulabham kim punarbhakti bhajam tat premedam sakritapi saraha स्नातुराविष्करोति तत्प्रेमेदं सकृदपि सरः स्नातुराविष्करोति. Of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And in every respect, her divine Kunda is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kunda is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within these holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. So this is what is being discussed. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives a lot of reasons as to why the Radha Kunda is so exalted and why it holds such a high position. Firstly, we will see it belongs to Srimati Radharani, who is the most beloved object of Sri Krishna. And also, this is the place where the Sakhis and Gopas and Gopis, they performed a lot of pastimes. And also, it is said that, in the surrounding villages of this Radha Kunda, are the homes of the Ashtasakis and the important Gopas. So that's why this Radha Kunda is so exalted. And it is described by the great sages as that lake is very dear to Krishna as Radha herself. And why is it so? Because this lake is nothing but a liquid personification of the love of Srimati Radharani for Lord Krishna. So it's a liquefied form of the love of Lord Krishna and Radharani. So that is why this lake is so exalted, and it is considered the same, identical with Srimati Radharani, because this is a personification of her love for Lord Krishna. Krishna's love for Radha Kunda and Srimati Radharani is the same in all respects. So because this actually lake is the personification of the love, so it is the same. In the spiritual world, everything related to Krishna is on an absolute platform. Like Krishna's paraphernalia, everything that Krishna does, his name, everything is on an absolute platform. We'll move on. This is going to be a short class, and there are exciting things planned for after it. Appearance of Radha Kunda. I thought this would be a good opportunity to, meditate on how Sri Radha Kunda appeared and what is the story behind. I'm sure many of us are very familiar with the story. So please do feel free to chime in if, I'm stuck somewhere or I get lost somewhere. So what happens is actually, Krishna and the Gopis, Lord Krishna and the Gopis, they are actually planning to have the Rasa dance. But then what happens is this Arishtasura, the bull demon, he appears out of nowhere, and then this kind of puts off their plans. And Lord Krishna, with all his bravery, he actually kills this Arishtasura bull demon. So after killing this demon, when he goes back to meet the gopis, what do they say? They say that, oh Krishna, you have actually committed a sin. So a bull is non-different from a cow. And so you have done a cow, killed a cow. So you need to atone for these sins. So what do they say? They say that you have to go and bathe in all the holy rivers, and only then will you get rid of the sin which you have committed. So then Krishna is like, how do I bring all these holy rivers here? They said, that's not our problem. You just have to somehow take a bath in all the holy rivers. And so what Krishna does is, he, by his powers, he actually summons all the holy rivers to that place. And all the holy rivers appear in front of him. And then this big kunda is formed, a big pond or a lake is formed, which is Sham Kunda. So then Krishna goes in and takes a bath, and he comes out and he's like, he tells the gopis that, see, you cannot do anything like this. I could do such a thing. I brought all the holy rivers here, and I created this kunda, but you are not qualified to do any such things like that. So then Radharani and the gopis say, what do you mean not qualified? We will also do this. We will also dig up a lake like this, and we will also summon all the rivers. So then they sit, and with their soft palms and hands, they dig up a small pond there. And then Krishna says that, why don't you just take the waters from my lake and just use it there, because all the rivers have come here anyways. So then Radharani says, no, I will not do that. You already took a bath, and then the water is contaminated because you killed Arishtasura, and so your sins are washed there, and I don't want to go, we don't want that kind of water in our pond. So then what happens is Krishna actually summons the rivers again. So this river personified goes and begs in front of Srimati Radharani and says that your love for Krishna, Lord Krishna, is, unfathomable. It's like nobody can understand, and it will be a great honor, great honor, if you allow us to come into your pond. Please do this, for our pleasure. So all this is actually a joking pastime between Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So then Radharani immediately gives in, and then she says, okay, fine, you can come in. So then the waters from the Shamakunda, they just overflow into the Radhakunda, and then they fill up the Radhakunda. So actually, I forgot one small detail. They wanted to bring the waters from Manasi Ganga. That's what they were planning. But then Krishna says, no, you just take the waters from here. So that's how the lakes, the Radhakunda and Shamkunda, they have appeared. And then Krishna says that, you're welcome to come into my lake and, play around how much ever you want. And then Radharani also says that the same applies to you. You're also welcome to come and play in our lake. We don't have any issues. So it's kind of a joking pastime between them. And so that's how it ends. And that's how the Radha Kunda and Shama Kunda actually appeared. And this is described in the purport in the 10th canto, 36th chapter. In one of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is actually giving this commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because this is not a part per se of the Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is actually taken from the Puranas. So that is what is being described in one of the purports in the 10th canto. So that's how Radha Kunda and Shama Kunda appear. So let's move on. The next thing, I thought it would be also a great thing to actually meditate on why Srimati, why Srimati Radharani holds such a high position, and what do our scriptures say of Srimati Radharani's high position. So I thought this would be a good time to, kind of go over how Narada Muni, he actually goes in search of this great devotee of the Lord, and what happens towards the end, who all does he meet on the way, and what happens towards the end. So this is all described in this work called Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And this Brihad Bhagavatamrita is actually a literary work or a composition. It's by Sanatan Goswami, who is the older brother of Rupa Goswami. And in this, there are two parts to this book, and Preeti Mataji had covered extensively the whole, 2 parts, 2 volumes, I think over a span of 2 years, with so many lectures and beautiful details and everything. But I'm just going to be doing a very, very, very short summary here, just to see what is the exalted position of Srimati Radharani, as that is described in the first part of Narada Muni's travel. So when Narada Muni goes and tries to find the most topmost devotee of Lord Krishna, he goes through several, uh, like a planetary systems, you could say, in one sense, that he, starting from the material realm, he goes to the heavenly planets, and then to the Brahmaloka, and then, Kailash, and he goes step by step to the different planetary systems, and at last he arrives at the position, the highest position, or the topmost devotee. And that's what is actually covered in this first part of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So let's see how it goes. And like I said, it's not going to go too much into details. It's just going to be a short summary. So once what's happening is there is this big kind of a festival going on, and some devotees or some speakers have described it as the Kumbh Mela, but I did not find a direct reference to it. Maybe Preeti can help us. So there is this big festival going on in the Prayagraj, and then Narada Muni, at that time, he comes across this wealthy Brahmana, and he is very sincerely serving the Lord. So Narada Muni is very impressed by this Brahmana, and he says that he starts glorifying this Brahmana, that he is the greatest devotee of the Lord, and he has received all of the Lord's mercy. But then the Brahmana, he feels very embarrassed when he listens to this, and he says, no, I'm not at all a devotee or anything great, but there is another king who is giving everything, everything in his possession, and worshiping the Lord in the south. And you should perhaps go to him and, meet him. He is the greatest devotee of the Lord. So then Narada Muni, actually, he goes and meets this king in the south. And then he sees that although the king, he has so many other responsibilities, he's always absorbed in the Lord's activities. So all his activities were centered around glorifying and serving the Lord. So then the Brahmana, when Narada Muni goes and meets this king, he says to the king that, oh, the Brahmana, he told me that you are the greatest devotee of the Lord, and, you are so exalted that you're always absorbed in the Lord's thoughts. So the king says that, no, I'm an ordinary, mortal human being. I'm like next to nothing. So if you want to actually go and see the topmost, more exalted devotee of the Lord, you should see how Indra, I'm after all a mortal being. I'm in the earthly, realm. So in the Svarga Loka, or in the heavenly planets, you can see Indra, how nicely he is serving the Lord with all the facilities and everything. After all, I'm a mortal earthly being, so I'm not great at all. So then Narada Muni, he goes to the heavenly planets, and he starts to glorify Indra. And then Indra says, how are you even trying to glorify me? This is like not at all right. I didn't even give the Parijata tree to Lord Krishna. And, I also poured so much rain and everything. Don't you remember the Vrindavan pastimes, how mean I was being? I'm not at all a good devotee or anything like that. You should actually approach Brahma. He is like the first created being, Aja, and he knows all the secrets of creation and everything. So he is more advanced than I am. So please, you should approach Lord Brahma. So then Narada Muni, now he says, okay, and he goes to Brahmaloka, Satyaloka. And then he says to Brahma that you're the greatest devotee. And then Brahma says, oh no, he covers his ears and says, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. And he says, because it is, his, he says, how many times do I have to tell you that not to embarrass me like this? So because Narada is actually Brahma's son, and he knows like the position very well. So he says that many times we know that ete cham sakalapam, that so many times when the demons and everybody bother him, when the Brahma is always approaching, right, Vishnu for help. So what way am I greater or anything like this? only he said that Shiva, Lord Shiva, he holds a much higher position than I do. So then Narada Muni, again, he goes to Kailash, and then he offers his respects to Lord Shiva. And then he says to Shiva that you're the greatest devotee of the Lord. And then they say, oh no, then Parvati Mataji is also there. And they say, oh no, this is all wrong. This is not right at all. I'm not the greatest devotee or anything like that. He gives this example. I even fight against the Supreme Personality of Godhead, siding with my followers like Banasura. So how can I be, the greatest devotee of the Lord? But then he points, Lord Shiva points them to Vaikuntha and says that the devotees, like in Vaikuntha, they are all the greatest devotees of the Lord. So then Mother Parvati also gives the example of Lakshmi Devi. There are so many Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, so they are the greatest devotees of the Lord, like that. But then Lord Shiva again intercepts and he says that, but even greater than them is Prahlad Maharaj. How when nobody could pacify Narsimha Deva, Prahlad Maharaj was the only person who could pacify Narsimha Deva. So he's a great devotee of the Lord. So then Narada Muni goes to meet Prahlad Maharaj in Sutalaloka. And then Prahlad Maharaj says that you're talking about me. I just had some childish sentiments for the Lord. It was nothing mature or anything like that. So, and I didn't do anything big for the Lord. All I had was childish sentiments, and so I'm not the greatest devotee. The actual person who serves him nicely with so much of love and devotion is Hanuman. So you should go and meet Hanuman. So then Narada Muni goes to Hanuman, and then he again says, Hanuman, you're the greatest devotee of the Lord. So then Hanuman says, me? I'm already in separation from the Lord, and you're calling me the greatest devotee? I'm suffering in separation of the Lord, and I'm no way qualified, to be the greatest devotee of the Lord. So then he says, the Yadavas, the family, the Yadu dynasty, the Yadavas, they are the most fortunate ones. They're always in the association of Krishna, and they are not like me suffering in separation from Lord Rama. So you should actually go to the Yadavas and glorify them. They are the greatest devotees. So then when and then Narada Muni, then he goes to Hastinapur, and then he meets the Pandavas there, and sorry, I think I said something wrong there. He actually, Hanuman says that you should go and meet the Pandavas because they are getting the constant association of the Lord. Sorry, it was not the Yadavas. So then Narada Muni goes to Hastinapur and he meets the Pandavas, and he, again starts praising them and says that, oh Pandavas, you are the great, Lord is in mood of friendship with you, and you have great association with the Lord and all this. But then the Pandavas say that no, it's not us. We also, ultimately we only remember the Lord during our times of distress. But the Yadavas are the persons, who are in constant association of the Lord, and they are in the same family, the same dynasty, and so you should go and meet them. So that's when Narada Muni goes to Dwaraka, and then he tries to glorify the Yadavas there. And then, but the Yadavas say, oh, amongst us, you should even actually consider Uddhava. He is so close to the Lord, and he's not only close to the Lord also sends him on important missions, and he's also resembles the Lord. So he has so much of Krishna consciousness that he's, even looks like the Lord. So Uddhava is the greatest devotee. So that time again, Narada Muni, he goes to Uddhava and says, you're the greatest devotee of the Lord, as I hear, and please accept my respects. And then Uddhava says, well, I also was thinking that I was the greatest devotee of the Lord until Lord Krishna sent me to Vrindavan to meet the gopis. That's when I understood that I'm not at all a big devotee of the Lord. So in Vrindavan, the actual great devotees of the Lord, the gopis, are there, and among the gopis is Srimati Radharani. So there's more details to this, but I thought it is a good walkthrough of how Srimati Radharani's position is so exalted in our parampara. Like, she is the topmost devotee of Lord Krishna. So that is actually being described in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita also. And before we move on to the next part of the purport, I thought it's a good point to actually get a summary view of at least the Eastern wave of Nectar of Devotion. So this Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is another work. And in this Nectar of Devotion, it is actually divided into 4 waves, like northern, eastern, southern, and western, like that. And generally devotees, they study the eastern wave of the Nectar of Devotion. And in the eastern wave, the 4 important topics that are discussed are Samanya Bhakti, which actually gives the definition or the overview of devotional service, and then Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, and like the given short definitions there in below the boxes there. So Sadhana Bhakti is devotional service and practice. Bhava Bhakti is devotional service and ecstasy. Prema Bhakti is devotional service in pure love of Godhead. So that is the highest stage, Bhava Bhakti and then Prema Bhakti. So this Sadhana Bhakti, it has 2 types. It is one is the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and the other is the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is when a devotee or when a person actually takes to Krishna consciousness and he practices this regulated devotional practice. So it is not very spontaneous. In some sense, it is forced. The devotee feels that he or she has to follow the orders of the spiritual master, and the love for Krishna is not so spontaneous at that stage. And but still, he or she wants to get there, and is sincerely trying to follow the instructions of the guru, like that. And then Raga Nuga Bhakti is the spontaneous devotional service. On the right corner, I have given a translation from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The original inhabitants of Vrindavana are attached to Krishna spontaneously in devotional service. Nothing can compare to such spontaneous devotional service, which is called Ragatmika Bhakti. When a devotee follows in the footsteps of the devotees of Vrindavana, his devotional service is called Raganuga Bhakti. So Ragamika Bhakti is actually, it is shown, or it is manifested in these eternal associates of Lord Krishna, like the Gopas, the Gopis, the Manjaris. They are in this Ragatmika Bhakti. And then when a devotee, when you go to the higher platform, like how Srila Prabhupada, we saw even in verse 10, he says that when you kind of get your spiritual body, aprakrita, so absolutely no tinge of material, anything in that. So when you reach that level, and when the devotion service is spontaneous, and then you are following in the footsteps of a Ragatmika devotee, that is like a pure devotee of the Lord. So at that stage, you're we will see next the Swarupa, the Swarupa of a devotee is actually comes into light, or comes into the picture, or is manifested. And that's when this spontaneous loving service to the Lord takes place, and then Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, they all blossom like that. So this is what I just thought that it's a good overview to understand where this comes in the whole picture, and that's why I just put the slide here from the Nectar of Devotion, and we'll move on to the next. Okay. Yeah. Radha Kunda is very rarely attained. It is stated that a devotee will at once develop pure love of Krishna in the wake of gopis if he once takes a bath in Radha Kunda. So the question may arise as to, I might, also want to go and take a bath in the Radha Kunda, but why am I not getting that pure love? So again, I would like to, go back to the same thing where Prabhupada is saying that this is the advanced stage where a person is almost, in his Swarupa Deha, and he's offering devotion service in that ecstatic mode, spontaneous mode. So it is not like in the lower stages of bhakti, it's an advanced stage of bhakti. So, when such a person in that advanced stage, when they go and take a dip there, their prema or is awakened fully, and then they perform devotional service to the Lord. So that's what is being described here. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura writes in this connection that Sri Radhakunda is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, sakhis, and confidential serving maids, manjaris of Srimati Radharani. So the previous slide we saw that how a Raganuga Bhakta is actually following in the footsteps of Ragatmika Bhaktas. So these Ragatmika Bhaktas are these Sakhis, the Manjaris, all these people who are in the actual relationship, devotional relationship with Lord Krishna. And so these Raganuga Bhakti Bhaktas, they follow on those footsteps. So when you reach that high stage, of that devotional service, that's when we try to, we can even get some understanding or even a little understanding of what is the importance or what is the glory of Radha Kunda. It's also mentioned in the purport that, even great sages like the Kumaras, the Sanaka Sanatana Kumaras and Narada Muni, they don't approach Radha Kunda because this is actually, the Radha Kunda is a personification of Madhurya Bhav. So the Radha Kunda is, a very, very high platform of devotional service. It is full of Madhurya Bhav, and it is not it's a very advanced level for a devotee to achieve. So that's what is being explained in so many different ways in the purport actually. And we see very clearly Prabhupada has mentioned that one has to be in the spiritual body to get to this level. Then we'll move on to the next part, the most exalted method of devotional service. So this truth of, the Madhurya Prema and this how Radha Kunda is so exalted position of Srimati Radharani and her Kunda, the Radha Kunda, was actually given to us, or it was actually, this whole science was explained to us by none other than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached this, there was not much idea of this Madhurya Rasa of the Lord, in so much detail. So Lord Chaitanya actually gave this science to the devotees. Living entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Goloka Vrindavana, by means of attaining their spiritual body, Siddha Deha, should live at Radha Kunda, take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha, and under their direction engage constantly in her service. So we see how with the advanced level of devotees, they must follow in the footsteps of these eternal associates of the Lord, and in their Siddha Deha. So this is very important to understand what high level of devotion we are speaking here. And then you live at Radha Kunda and then perform devotional service to God. This is the most exalted method for those engaged in devotional service under the protection of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So how is this exalted? Because it is actually the topmost rasa, the Madhurya rasa. And what else is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the protection to the devotee to actually be in this rasa, in this mood. So without the sanction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we cannot approach this high level of devotional service. Actually, that's what is the meaning of this. So this is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's protection to the devotees who want to go to this high level of devotional service. So like I said earlier, I'm absolutely zero qualified to speak on this. Let's move on to the next and the last slide in today's class, last but one. So the conclusion of this verse is that to live on the banks of the Radha Kunda and to bathe there daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. By serving Radha Kunda, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. So once you do Raganuga, and then by serving constantly, you can become an assistant of Srimati Radharani. So isn't that a great, lofty, ideal for all of us, to aspire for? So at least we can aspire for, if we're not able to get there practically, but at least it's a great, ideal to aspire for and to meditate on. So this is what this chapter talks about, the glories of Srimati Radharani and her Kunda, which are not different at all, because this is a liquid personification of Srimati Radharani and Krishna's love. And we move to the last slide, which is a summary slide of today's verse. And then, all the things which we discussed so far. Why Radha Kunda? Why is Radha Kunda so exalted? And because it is as dear to Krishna as Radharani herself. And then it is rarely attained. We saw that even the sages, they do not go near the exalted sages. And then we also saw certain quotes from Bhakti Vinoda Thakur and Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, that how we need to follow in the footsteps of the Sakhis and Manjaris, and then how Lord Chaitanya is offering personal protection to devotees who are reaching this high level. So all this science has been given to us by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then how is it being done? It is by offering devotional service, pure devotional service in the Siddha Deha, by bathing in the Radha Kunda as many times as possible. So that is the advanced stage, when a devotee reaches an advanced stage of bhakti and he has realized his Siddha Deha. That's when we are talking about all these things. And so what will be the ultimate result of all this? The ultimate result is that you can serve as a servant of Srimati Radharani. We can serve Lord Krishna as a servant. So this is the summary of this verse 11. And I would like to pause here. And if anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free. And please forgive me if I made any mistakes. Like I said, I am totally unqualified to speak on this exalted topic. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Sagari Mataji. This was a very, very difficult verse, and you seamlessly just made us swim through this verse. So thank you so much. Fantastic session, Mataji. We'll open the forum for questions and answers. Hare Krishna.
Preeti, did you find anything wrong with the Brihad Bhagavatamrita?
It was in the peak of perfection, Mataji.
I was thinking you may have a few comments for me there.
No, it was all perfect. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Nitya Nasim Prabhuji, you have a question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much. It was really amazing session, Mataji. Last 11 verses, how it went so fast. It is no words to express. It is so great journey of nectar of instruction. Mataji, I have a few questions, like Eastern way of devotional service. What is that, Mataji? That means there are other ways also?
Yeah, there are like four directions. So the Eastern wave is the one, let me go back to that slide. So Eastern wave, is the one that generally as part of the Bhakti Shastri program, the devotees study, because the other waves discuss again very, very advanced topics of rasa, tattva, and so many other things. So that is discussed in the other waves. So devotees generally are, the required study, I would say, in Bhakti Shastri is to stick to the Eastern wave, which starts with the definition of, the Samanya Bhakti, the definition of Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, that verse. It starts with that and goes on to the different details like Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So, but then the different rasas, the seven, the 5 primary, the 7 secondary, and so many other details are discussed in the other waves, which is optional reading. When a devotee goes to that level, they can read under the guidance of their guru and the permission of the guru. But the Bhakti Shastri deals with the Eastern wave. Like I think even in the Eastern wave, only the first 17 or 18 chapters. So we'll be soon covering, like Preeti Mataji was mentioning. I think the next is Sri Ishopanishad. And then maybe after that, we will be doing Nectar of Devotion, as I understand.
Okay, Mataji. And ultimately, you concluded that we need to serve Radha Kunda. So how to serve Mataji? That is how to serve Radha Kunda.
Yeah, basically the method of service which is being described here is by bathing there, and take as many, bathe daily if you can, and that is the way how we actually are purifying ourselves, and then serve the Lord. Like generally at that stage, the devotees are like almost near samadhi like that, and they are so renounced, and all their efforts, their mind and everything, like there was this class by we are having a series of programs with Hari Parshad Prabhu, and he was just mentioning that why is Shravanam so important for devotees, because the Shravanam, so much Shravanam you do, the listening, Smaranam develops. Smaranam is remembrance, and Vishnu Smaranam, that's what develops, and you want that Smaranam, and only when you have that Smaranam, you can go into Samadhi. Samadhi is like total, like all your energies are on the Lord. So that's how a devotee gives up his body. That's what Prabhuji was explaining. So that is the way of service at an advanced level. The devotees, are in trance, and they experience Krishna consciousness, by smaranam like that, and also they do some kind of worship also to the deities. They have their own personal deities, and they do the worship like that. So Radha Kunda is so potent that when a devotee resides by the Radha Kunda and takes bath, it's like a tonic to that devotee to actually perform this pure devotional service in their Siddha Deha. That's how I understand, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. But Mataji, here in many purports, Srila Prabhupada says that we should not take dip in the Radha Kunda. So it is like sometimes it is contradicting. Some says that we should take dip in the Radha Kunda. Like,
Yeah.
would you kindly clarify, Mataji? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, there have been letters and stuff on this, I think in the past, some devotees did some frivolous play in the waters of Radha Kunda, like swimming and, playing around. So that Srila Prabhupada was not in favor of. And so he said that do not do that. So even now, even when I personally visited took darshan of Radha Kunda several years back, the brahmachari devotees, those who know the high position of Radha Kunda do not step into the waters too. So what we were told was to take the waters and just put on the head like that. So when we understand the exalted position of Radha Kunda, we don't do that. Like I said, the devotees like Prabhupada has described so clearly in the Siddha Deha or in the spiritual bodies, they are welcome to go and take bath. But we can, of course, trying to get the blessings of Radha Kunda and Srimati Radharani, we can take the waters on our head like that, But so that's what the brahmacharis advised us.
And the last question, Mataji, here in the Nectar of Instruction, last verse, it is shown the power of Radharani. We worship Lord Krishna and we say that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is being controlled by Radharani. And in many purports of Srila Prabhupada, he says that women is less intelligent, but that is not so true by seeing the 11th verse of Nectar of Instruction. So it is showing that, and also His Holiness Jayaprakash Swami Maharaj says that women has a lot of ways or techniques to preach. So here Radharani means Krishna has been controlled by Radharani. Is that true? I mean, that is the conclusion, Mataji.
Yes, na parayaham. Like Krishna actually is aham bhakta paradhino. He says in the Srimad Bhagavatam that, I am paradhina. I'm like subservient to my devotees. And then he says, na parayaham. He says that I can never repay the debt of the gopis. This is also described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a very exalted platform. And in this spiritual platform, only Krishna is the Purusha. Everybody else is Prakriti. Prakriti means something that is enjoyed by Purusha, and that we are all meant to be enjoyed. We are all for the enjoyment of Lord Krishna. So that is our position. And so in the spiritual realm, everything, the Purusha, only Purusha is Lord Krishna, and everybody else is Prakriti. Of course, in this material realm, we do find, like small Purushas, we call, Lord Krishna has given that because the people, the jivas wanted to enjoy independently of Lord Krishna, and they wanted to be the Purusha. So this make-believe, fake kind of Dukhalayam Ashashvatam has been given to enjoy those propensities for the jivas who want to do that, who want to independently enjoy and think of themselves as Purusha. So, but the original position is that only Lord Krishna is the Purusha, everybody else is Prakriti. Everything else is for the enjoyment of Krishna. Srimati Radharani, in one sense, is none other than the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. She is the personification of the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. So she's no different from Lord Krishna in that sense, so we cannot sometimes, if you try to say, like, I want to attain the position of Srimati Radharani, we have to understand what is her position, right? I mean, she is a personification of Lord Krishna's Haladini Shakti. So that is, a very, very lofty ideal. So we can aspire to be servants and try to assist Srimati Radharani, or even servant of the servant, Dasa, Anudas. So maybe servant several levels down to the Manjaris who are assisting, or our gurus who may be assisting there. So that is all the aspiration we can have for.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for answering all my questions.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I don't know, I just answered whatever I've heard, but the devotees may be more knowledgeable and can give better insights.
Hare Krishna, Ji Sukheswari Mataji, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Shri Shyam Kund, Shri Radha Kund ki jai, Mataji. You explain all the verses so nicely. Deep devotional association, Mataji. Day by day we are growing from all the Bhakti Sangha teachers, Mataji. Today class is touch to heart, Mataji. Maybe you are preparing from 3-4 a week, Mataji. We can feel your love and your devotional love, and Srimati Shri Radharani's Hadini Shakti. And Mataji, you sing so sweetly. Can you please sing by all Vaishnava permission that you sing some Krishna's very high speech and low speech? I cannot remember that sloka. And even Sukheswari Mataji, both daughter will sit and hear in your class. And they said, Mama, no, not understanding much. But Mataji, your spiritual level is so high, and still you come in our level and teach us, Mataji. So that is just to add that.
I am lower than all of you. That is the
No.
I have to literally stoop up to come to all of your level. I mean, it's
No, Radhe, no, Radhe. So deep devotional association, day by day, Mataji. Feel that Maharaj is given, Giraj Maharaj is given a class. That much potency, Mataji. Not only me, all the Vaishnava in a hearing, they also feel this, whatever I feel, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Please sing that 2 line. You speak so nicely, Mataji. I forgot that Krishna's sloka, Mataji. I forgot that 2 sloka.
Which sloka? I'm not sure, Mataji, you're referring to.
Last one you sing, Mataji, in a very high scale. I forgot, Mataji. That is not sloka, but something you speak so high, so touch to heart, Mataji.
In today's class?
Today's class, Mataji, before 15.
I just recited the shloka. I mean, I sang the shloka, the Nectar.
Last one, Mataji, last sloka, Mataji.
Yeah, last one, yeah.
Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please give your association and blessing to all of us.
I am not qualified, Mataji, but I need all of your blessings. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Anybody else has any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very, very wonderfully taken class, Mataji, and you answered the questions also so beautifully. Mataji, following in Vrinda Gopika Mataji's question on itself, Mataji, if you can please sing the entire or let them, that would be beautiful. It's a wonderful meditation. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Mataji, I will do that for the pleasure of Vaishnavas. And Preeti, is there going to be the game after this? Hi, Preeti. Is she there?
Yeah, Mataji, she said she will be outside. Maybe she's like not near the laptop, maybe, Mataji.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, are there any more questions, dear devotees? Any comments, questions, any realizations you would like to share?
Yes, Mataji, one thing is like every, like here when you say Tuesday in Muscat, it is Wednesday. Every week I'm eagerly waiting, and by Krishna's arrangements, here it is like 4 o'clock in the morning. But I'm waking up at 3:30 when the class is there. Especially we are waiting for this Nectar of Instruction and Srimad Bhagavatam. So
Jai Ho!
all glories
your
to Bhakti
devotion,
Sangha group,
Preeti.
because it is nectarian. I heard many times Nectar of Instruction and Bhagavatam also, but the way in which you are presenting and the exalted devotees, as Mataji said, it is really going deep diving into the devotional service. That is the feedback I want to give, Mataji. Thank you very much.
All goes to Shishi Guru and Gauranga and Srila Prabhupada. It's your devotion, Prabhuji, the kind of sacrifice, tapasya you're doing, waking up at 3:30. That's something I need to imbibe from you all. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Or Preeti, are you there now?
No, Mataji. Mataji is outside. She does not have her internet connection.
Oh, okay. I thought she was planning for a game, because this is the last session and, it'll be fun to have a game. But maybe I'll just go ahead and sing now the 11 verses. Maybe she'll join in by then. I'll share the other screen. So I'll stop sharing this. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, let's see. वाचो वेगं मनसः क्रोधवेगं जिह्वा वेगं उदरोपस्थवेगं एतान् वेगान्यो विषहेत धीरः सर्वामपि मां पृथिवीं सशिष्यात् अत्याहारप्रयासश्च प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रहः जनसङ्गश्च लौल्यं च षड्भिर्भक्तिः विनश्यति उत्साहान् निश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत्तत्कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतो वृत्तेः षड्भिः भक्तिः प्रसिद्ध्यति ददाति प्रतिगृह्णाति गुह्यमाख्याति पृच्छति भुङ्क्ते भोजयते चैव षड्विधं प्रीतिलक्षणम् कृष्णेति यस्य गिरितं मनसा ध्रियेत दीक्षास्ति चेत् प्रणतिभिश्च भजन्तमीशं शुश्रूषया भजनविज्ञं मनन्यमन्य निन्दादि निन्दादिशून्यहृदम् ईप्सितसङ्गलब्ध्या निन्दादिशून्यहृदम् ईप्सितसङ्गलब्ध्या दृष्टै स्वभावजनितैः वपुषश्च दोषैः न प्राकृतत्वमिह भक्तजनस्य पश्येत् गङ्गाम्भसां न खलु बुद्बुधपेन पङ्कैः ब्रह्मद्रवत्वमपगच्छति नीरधर्मैः ब्रह्मद्रवत्वमपगच्छति नीरधर्मैः स्यात् कृष्णनामचरितादिसिताप्यवृत्या पित्तोपतप्तरसनस्य न रोचिकाणु किन्त्वादरादनुदिनं खलु सैव जुष्टा स्वाद्विक्रमाद् भवति तद्गदमूलहन्त्री तन्नामरूपचरितादिषु कीर्तनानु स्मृत्यो क्रमेण रसना मनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजे तदनुरागी जनानुगामी कालं नयेदखिलमिति उपदेशसारं कालं नयेदखिलमिति उपदेशसारं वैकुण्ठाजनितो वरा मधुपुरी तत्रापि रासोत्सवाद् बृन्दारण्यमुदारपाणिरमणात् तत्रापि गोवर्धनः राधाकुण्डमिहापि गोकुलपते प्रेमामृताप्लावनात् कुर्यादस्य विराजतो गिरितटे सेवां विवेकी न कः कर्मेभ्यः परितो हरे प्रियतया व्यक्तिं ययुर्ज्ञानिनः तेभ्यो ज्ञानविमुक्तभक्तिपरमाः प्रेमैकनिष्ठा सतः तेभ्यस्तापशुपालपङ्कजदृशः ताभ्योऽपि साराधिका प्रेष्ठा तत्त्वदीयं तदीयसरसि तां नाश्रयेत् कः कृती कृष्णस्योच्चै प्रणयवसतिः प्रेयसीभ्योऽपि राधा कुण्डं चास्य मुनिभिरभितः तादृगेव व्यधायि यत्प्रेष्ठैरप्यलम् असुलभं किं पुनर्भक्तिभाजां तत्प्रेमेदं सकृदपि सरः स्नातुराविष्करोति तत्प्रेमेदं सकृदपि सरः स्नातुराविष्करोति जय प्रभुपाद 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 हरे कृष्ण
Jai Shila Prabhupada. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Yes, Mataji, we agree with you when we are hearing Krishna Katha. Smaranam is coming, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam Mataji for your sincere seva. Shila Prabhupada, Shila Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Preeti, are you there now? Indu, would you know if they are arranging the game today?
I don't know, Mataji. I did not talk to Mataji about this at all. So I don't know.
Lalitangi Mata here? Maybe she knows.
No, she's not there too.
Oh,
Okay, we can have it next class, Mataji, if that is the intention.
Yeah, that was what was planned. I don't know, maybe they got busy. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have more information on that. So yeah, maybe if there are no more questions and no more, realizations, we can end the call now. Vinita, is that okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you so much. Hare
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
ki jai.
Shri Kishori
Jai.
Mataji ki jai.
Thank you everyone for joining. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, koti koti dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Koti